Hey everybody, Bob here. Today we're going to talk about the heated hand grips that I put on my CF Moto C-Force 600 ATV. As I mentioned in other videos, there was a few modifications I've done to this ATV that I didn't film me putting them on. Kind of stuff I had done before I decided to start making these videos. But I do want to go over them, go over my opinion on it, and talk about how I put it on, and see what you guys think about it, and hopefully save you some money from the alternatives you can buy, and just let you know what I think about them. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, so here's my CF Moto 600 2020 model. These are your factory hand grips, and when I was doing my research on hand grips, what a wide variety of pricing options, a lot of which were $50+ for a pair of grips. Some of them went even into the $100, $200 range, which was kind of crazy. I knew after riding with my friend John on his older Hondas, he did not have heated hand grips and he did not have guards, and I knew that was one of my top upgrades I wanted to do on this CF Moto. So after doing my research, I came across a pair of heated hand grips that were 18 bucks. I'll put a link in the description. They were on Amazon, so you guys can snatch them up and give them a try if you'd like. When I bought the CF Moto, I bought it used with 150 miles on it. The gentleman I bought it from had already wired off the battery, which is underneath the back seat here, a little 12-volt round style plug-in for heated jackets and things of the like. And I did a little bit of research on these jackets, and they're cool and all, but they're also like $250 for a heated jacket. I've done a lot of winter riding with John the last few years and have never been cold in my snow jacket riding. What gets cold is my hands and my feet, and so that wasn't a top priority for me. So these heated hand grips, they come, of course, with a pair of grips. The switch is built in onto the grip, and they come with a connector that connects the two grips together, and then just a raw set of 12-volt red and black wires coming off, positive, negative wires to connect to your 12-volt source. And what I did is I just dropped a wire down here. In fact, this is the wire for the hand grips here, and I used some heat shrink tape and put an extension on the wire that came with the hand grips with some 12-volt wire, and dropped it down, pulled it up underneath. Here's your main power wires for your battery to the engine here. So I actually ran those wires up under here, and then I attached it, snipped off the end of that 12-volt adapter, which was already a fused power source off the battery that the other gentleman had done, and just tapped onto that. So that's how I wired it. I did find out after the fact from John, my friend John, who was looking this over for me for an issue I had that we'll go over in a future video, that there are some hot points under the hood for 12-volt connections, which would have made my life a little bit easier just to tap onto one of those. But this is how I wired it. I definitely recommend, whatever you do, get some wire with an inline fuse. Just be safe. You don't want your ATV, don't want anything else burning out or any other problems happening, so just put a fuse on it. Alright, so let's look at the fit and finish on these grips. I am so pleased. This is your factory switch setup. This is so clean. It looks great. fits right in there. You turn the power on here. So these grips are a tiny bit shorter than what you would get from the factory because of the switch here, but I've got pretty big hands and it fits just fine. They're nice and grippy, nice on the hand, not sharp. You get level 1 setting, level 2 setting. I didn't notice a terrible amount of difference between the two. I was just in light winter cotton gloves on the ride we went on. For reference, every other ride I've gone on before I had heated grips, I was in thick, heavy ski snow gloves and my hands were always freezing. This ride we went on, it was about 40 degrees. We were going, 30 miles an hour at some points. With the combination of these guards and these heated grips, I was fine in those thin gloves. I was super happy. And I think, like I said, it's a combination of having these, and if you have an ATV and you don't have some hand guards, they make it a lot safer when you're going through trees and things. You're not going to cut your hands up, but winter riding, they do a lot to keep the wind off your hands. Definitely recommend picking these up. That's a pretty inexpensive upgrade for your ATV. They do come standard on CF Motos. And they're pretty adjustable. If you need to change the height and stuff, you can just do it by their thing, and they've got some Allen connections here and here, change the angles and adjust things as needed. Other side isn't quite as clean as a fit just by design from these grips. One thing to note about these grips is that they are designed for twist, like on a motorcycle, for a twist throttle, but it was a really easy fix to do away with that. It comes with a little insert, that's this extra little piece here. Once you stick that in there, the only thing that twists is this throttle cable then. And the fit was a little loose on this side, nice and tight on this side as far as over the handle grip. So what I did is I wrapped a couple of wraps of electrical tape on there and then pushed it on in. Once you tighten down, so there's these little Allens here, once you tighten everything down, it's solid. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't want to twist at all. Super safe. The only issue with these, and it is a huge safety issue if you don't modify it, and I have not modified it yet, the throttle catches on the bottom, and you've got a little bit of cruise control there. My answer is going to be, I'm going to grind this right here, and that's going to free that up. I really don't want to go torquing and bending on the throttle here. I'm going to grind that up, and I'll give you a little update here at the end of this video about how that went, and that should make this nice and free, so it's not a concern. It's the only catch there, and we'll address that here shortly, pretty quick. As far as putting them on and off, one of the hardest things is getting your old grips off. Like I said in my intro video, I don't have a lot of tools. I don't have a lot of money that I've spent on tools. I don't have an air compressor. That is the way to do it, from what I've read, is you fit your little air compressor nozzle in there, blow some air in, and it loosens the factory grip and it just slides right off. What I did is I got myself one of these little stainless steel straws out of my kitchen, or they're like $1 at the grocery store for a pack of 10, or not, maybe not that cheap, but you can get a couple. Anyhow, undid the Allen here, slipped this screwdriver, or this straw, down into the side and slid it all the way down underneath the factory hand grip, and then blew in it, and then slowly moved it around, and it popped it free, and I popped it right off. So, like I said, I kind of find some interesting ways to do things sometimes, but it worked. I don't have an air compressor. The factory grips are not damaged. They could be reused or included if I ever sell this to somebody else if they want to go back to that. So I kept those. And one other thing for fit that I'll note is these Allens. The Allen from the factory with that grip on the left hand side fit in and was able to grab the threads inside of here to hold this on. I did have to find a longer one in my junk drawer. It's like a piece off of a piece of furniture you build, like one of the extra ones they give you if you ever bought a piece of furniture that goes together with these. It was just a tad longer. It needs to be about 2 inches to be able to grip in, and the reason is having this be a twist grip, it does have this little bit of extra spacing here, and that pushed it out just enough that the factory Allen didn't reach in there. Quick run to the hardware store and you can grab a bolt of any kind for $1 or less, and that's a quick fix. Any way you cut it, you're into this $20 and you got yourself a really decent set of heated grips. They work incredibly well, almost too hot even with those cotton gloves on. I mean, that's kind of what you want. You want to be comfortable, and they were very comfortable and made for a really great ride. All right, and I will tack on to the end of this video here. After a cut, I'm going to go ahead and give this a grind, and we'll see how that works with this throttle. It was something, and it's a good thing that just John and I were out there riding, and I didn't throw my wife on here to ride it or anything, not knowing, because it was definitely a safety hazard. But we're going to rectify that here in just a moment. All right, guys, let's give this a little grind and see how this solves this here. I'm going to try to do this without moving anything. I'm going to make sure my little piece that can free float around here is just kind of locked where it's going to be, where I'm not going to touch it, and not going to remove anything else, and hopefully we can get to it okay. I'm just using a little grinding pad on the grinder. Let's give it a try, see if we can resolve this issue here. So there's an outer layer where it twists around. I'm just going to try to take that off nice and even and see if that gets us where we need to go. Pretty good. I'm going to take a little bit more off the back here. Really super soft plastic. If you guys don't have a grinder, you could do this with just your hand and some sandpaper here, no problem. Let's go ahead and give it one more little touch. So just gave this a good grind off of here. Basically just made it nice and level. Let's take a look at our clearances now. It's nice. It's not going to get hung up on anything. I'm happy with it. Well, there you have it. Like I said, $20. You got yourself a really nice set of heated grips. Yeah, needed a tiny little modification, but I would assume so would most of any others you'd put on here, probably, especially with how high up this little grip is. You may be able to, not grip, but throttle rather, you may be able to undo this throttle and put a little bit of spacer up in here or something to bring this down a bit. I don't really want to mess with that. I'm happy with that. That'll keep it safe. Nothing's gonna happen, and I'm aware that it's there, so I'll kind of just know if I'm feeling something, then that's what the problem is. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy. After grinding that, the fit is great. One thing I did notice is that somebody could still hit this forward, and if they did, then this is going to catch again. So I'm going to go ahead and just zip tie this cable to the throttle adjuster bolt, which I'm not going to need to mess with. And if I do, I can still get to it if I need be. I'm just going to tie that to that real quick so that that doesn't give us any grief here. Alright, so I got that zip tie on there, and it did allow for it to tip a bit more just to that point there, and it's not going to go anywhere else if it's accidentally hit. So I went back underneath and just use that grinder to make sure that we have clearances on the throttle at that position too if it were to flip around. So now no matter what, if it's here as far as it'll go that way or there, we're not going to have any stuck throttle issues. So alright, we're all set and it's clean. Nobody will give you grief about that. Looks awesome. Alright, thank you guys. Next video we'll go over skid plates.